Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Concept Class. Today, we begin one of the most passionate and action filled periods in India's freedom struggle, the second phase of the Indian national movement. Between 1905 and 1916, India's political movement underwent a great transformation. The early leaders, known as the moderates, who believed in petitions and requests, were now replaced by bold nationalists, called assertive or radical nationalists. In this phase, Indians no longer begged for reforms, they demanded Swaraj or self rule. We'll explore how this spirit rose, what challenges it faced, and how it united Indians across communities. Students. The moderates had led the Congress for about 20 years. They had faith in British justice and hoped that petitions, resolutions, and appeals would bring reform. But by 1905, the younger generation realized that such soft methods were producing no real results. British rulers continued to exploit India economically. Famines, poverty, and high taxation made life miserable for the masses. At the same time, Indians were becoming more educated and politically aware. The writings of thinkers like Tilak, Aurobindo Ghosh, and Bipin Chandra Pal awakened a sense of self-respect. Abroad, world events gave Indians hope. Japan's victory over Russia in 1905 showed that an Asian nation could defeat a European power. Nationalist struggles in Ireland inspired Indians to demand their rights. All these factors together created an atmosphere ripe for assertive action, an India that no longer wished to wait or plead. In 1905, Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India, announced the Partition of Bengal. He claimed it was done for administrative convenience, since Bengal was too large to govern effectively. But the people of India saw through this excuse. Bengal was the heart of Indian nationalism, a center of education, culture, and political consciousness. By dividing it into East Bengal, Muslim majority, and West Bengal, Hindu majority, Curzon hoped to weaken national unity. It was clearly a divide and rule tactic to pit Hindus and Muslims against each other and reduce Bengal's political influence. This act provoked unprecedented anger and marked a turning point in India's freedom movement. The response was immediate and powerful. All over India, people rose in protest, meetings were held, patriotic songs like Bande Mataram were sung, and leaders urged people to unite. This led to the birth of two major movements. One, the Swadeshi movement, encouraging the use of Indian-made goods. Two, the Boycott movement, rejecting British goods and institutions. Swadeshi was not only economic resistance, it was a movement for self-reliance and national pride. Indian weavers, artisans, and businessmen were supported. National schools and colleges were established to provide Indian education instead of British-controlled ones. The growing boldness of the assertive leaders caused tensions within the Congress. At the Surat session in 1907, these tensions reached breaking point. The moderates, led by Gopal Krishna Gokhale, wanted constitutional reforms and cooperation with the British. The radicals, led by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, wanted direct confrontation, boycotts, Swadeshi, and national education. The two groups argued bitterly. The session turned chaotic, and the Congress split. This was a setback, but it also symbolized India's growing impatience and courage. The movement now had two directions, one cautious and the other revolutionary. The assertive nationalists believed India's freedom would not be granted. It had to be won. They rejected the idea of begging for reforms. Instead, they promoted Swaraj, self rule by Indians. For Indians, their main tools were boycott, refusing to use British goods, schools, or courts; Swadeshi, building Indian industries and using homemade products; passive resistance, non-violent defiance of unjust laws. They emphasized unity, courage, and cultural pride. Tilak once said, "The remedy for evil lies in the hands of the sufferer himself." That meant Indians had to take responsibility for their destiny. The leadership of this era came from three fiery patriots, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal, famously called Lal Bal Pal. Each represented a different region, but their vision was the same, a free India. Their speeches, writings, and social reforms inspired millions. Let's see their individual contributions, one by one. Tilak was perhaps the most powerful nationalist voice. Before Gandhi, he believed that freedom was a natural right, not a favor from the British. Through his newspapers, Kesari and Maratha, he spread nationalist ideas fearlessly. He turned religious and cultural festivals into political gatherings, using the Ganpati and Shivaji festivals to bring people together and awaken pride in India's heritage. His slogan, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it," became the mantra of a generation. Bipin Chandra Pal of Bengal believed that political freedom must go hand in hand with moral and cultural revival. He was a great speaker and journalist. He inspired youth to boycott British goods and support national industries. Pal's writings stressed the importance of self respect and courage. He often said, "It is better to wear coarse Indian cloth with pride than fine foreign cloth in slavery." Lala Lajpat Rai was the voice of northern India's awakening, a strong advocate of education and reform. He established institutions like the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic College. He fearlessly criticized British policies and faced imprisonment multiple times. His courage earned him the title Punjab Kesari. He once said, "The shot that killed me will be the call for the downfall of the British Empire." In 1906, the All India Muslim League was formed at Dhaka under Aga Khan's leadership. While the Congress was demanding self rule, the League focused on safeguarding Muslim interests. The British supported this move as part of their divide and rule strategy. Initially, the League was loyal to the British Crown and avoided open confrontation. This created a parallel political organization alongside the Congress. The Muslim League's formation didn't happen overnight. It grew out of fears and manipulation. The partition of Bengal had already created distrust between Hindus and Muslims. The British cleverly promoted these fears by saying Congress represents Hindu interests only. Many Muslim aristocrats feared they would lose their privileges in a democratic India. Thus, they formed the League to protect their community's political standing. At its founding, the Muslim League did not oppose British rule. In fact, its first objective was loyalty to the government. It focused mainly on protecting Muslim representation in government jobs and legislatures. However, with time and under new leadership, the League began to cooperate with the Congress for common goals. In 1916, at Lucknow, the Congress and Muslim League leaders realized that division was weakening India. So, they came together to sign the Lucknow Pact. Under this agreement, both organizations jointly demanded reforms and representation from the British. It marked the first time Hindus and Muslims presented a united political front. This unity gave the freedom movement a tremendous boost. It showed that India could speak with one voice. The Lucknow Pact was a milestone. For the first time in many years, Indians rose above communal lines. It strengthened the Congress and gave new energy to the national movement. The British now faced a united India, demanding justice and reforms. This unity set the stage for the Gandhian movement that would follow soon after. To summarize, this second phase of the national movement was a journey of awakening and courage. It began with the injustice of Bengal's partition and grew into a demand for Swaraj. Though divided by the Surat split, Indians learned valuable lessons in leadership and unity. The assertive leaders inspired millions, and by 1916, the Lucknow Pact had once again united India for the next stage of struggle. In conclusion, the second phase of India's national movement transformed the country's mindset. It gave India a new confidence that freedom was possible through unity, courage, and self-reliance. By 1916, India was politically awakened and emotionally united, ready for the mass movements that Mahatma Gandhi would soon lead. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed our journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel for more videos.